Hey guys, so let's see if you can hear me. I had some people telling me I was cutting in and out. I've unplugged my mic, plugged it back in. Let's see. Hopefully some of you log in now that we're past our time, but I see you guys logging in. Will you tell me you can hear me? Because I was on earlier. I had some people saying they could hear me, couldn't hear me, that I was going in and out. I've unplugged and replugged in my microphone, but I can't tell if you guys don't let me know. So please let me know that you hear me. Let me see if I can come over here. Say hi. Cool. Thank you. All right. So if you lose me, let me know. Otherwise, we'll get going. All right. Let me pull back up my notes. All right. Technology. Gotta love it. All right, y'all. So let's open this up. There we go. Okay. So happy Monday. Thanks for joining me again. For those of you that came back, those of you just logging in, hey, you may not even know we were having technical difficulties. It's okay. It's a Monday, right? All right. So I'm just going to jump right in. Okay. As always, guys, it's an updates and Q&A session. So put your questions in the comments. Let me know, excuse me, what questions you guys have. I'm going to just talk a little bit about this bill that passed. Okay. That's what I'm really going to focus on the highlights from that bill that passed the Senate this weekend, talk about that, and a few other things I just want to add in there for you guys. In the comments, there should be a ton of links for you guys with some awesome resources that I'll talk about at the end. All right, so this bill. So the House passed a bill last weekend, I think at like Saturday morning at like 2 a.m. All right, the Senate, the Senate had it this week, went back and forth on it. It was split, right? So the Senate, you guys, is one, right? 50 Republicans, 50 Democrats. Vice President Kamala Harris breaks the tie. Okay. So they went back and forth this weekend. Nope, last week, trying to pass something. Friday morning at like 1 a.m., the Senate approved by a majority of a bill. However, it included amendments to what the House had sent over. So because they made amendments to the House bill, the new amended Senate bill now has to go back to the House. Okay? So we've got some time because both the House and the Senate have to pass it, right? And then the president will sign off. So we've still got some time before we actually have a passed bill. That said, I think the House will probably approve of this relatively quickly because every day that they don't pass something is another day that the Americans don't have money in their pocket, right? That they don't have this relief that the $1.9 trillion bill is trying to give us, all right? So what's in this bill? Let's get down and dirty, okay? So the one thing that's gonna apply to everybody, business owners and non, is the stimulus, right? So this is a $1,400 per person stimulus payment that's going to be made out to all taxpayers with taxable income less than $75,000 if you're single, $150,000 if you're filing married. All right, remember that's taxable income, so it's after all of your adjustments, all of that. Okay. However, what changed with this one? So that phase out, that 75, 150. Everyone below it with income below that gets the full amount, all right? Then if you make over that, there's a phase out limit where you would get a part of it, all right? You get a portion of that $1,400 and it goes down the more and more you make over that threshold. All right, that threshold used to be this big, now it's this big. All right, so if you make more than $80,000 if you're single or $160,000 if you're married, you won't get anything, okay? You won't get anything from the stimulus payment. All right, so that's the stimulus. The next part of this bill is the PUA, the unemployment. So the Senate has approved of $300 per week through September. Okay, that's less than the House, but for a longer period of time. The other big thing that is in this bill, you guys, is that the first $10,200 of unemployment income in 2020 and then again in 2021 will be tax-free to you as the taxpayer. So what does that mean when it is March 8th, tax day is 5.5 weeks away, and if you were to file your return right now, all of your unemployment would be taxed, all right? Because that's how it is right now, all right? That's the normal rule. That's how it's set up. So this bill says, well, we're going to make the first $10,200 tax-free. But first, the bill has to pass. The House, the Senate, the president needs to sign off. Then the Treasury needs to create some guidance. And then the IRS has to update their forms. Can this all be done in the next 5 weeks? Probably. I have firsthand experience with the IRS. They are really slow right now. They're slow anyway, but they're extra slow for the last year. So I don't know when their forms will be updated. So you have two options, all right? Whether you've already filed your tax return and you're like, wait, I had unemployment, I filed it. What does that mean for me? Okay, it means you pay tax on all of your unemployment when you could have had $10,200 of it tax-free. So your option, if you've already filed your tax return, is to file an amendment to get that money back, all right? If you have not yet filed, you have two options. You can file and amend, okay? Or, excuse me, or you can file an extension and wait to actually file your return until they've actually updated the forms and they've made it so that when you file, that $10,200 is tax-free, okay? That is what I recommend, okay? I'm not a huge proponent usually of filing extensions. I want you guys to file on time and get your stuff done unless you have a reason. This is a reason, all right? If you know you have unemployment income in 2020, I would recommend preparing your return, right? Getting it all in, figuring out, do you owe money or not? Okay. If you're going to owe money, even if that $10,200 in unemployment is tax-free, pay in what you anticipate owing with your extension, file your extension, and then file the return once the IRS has the actual forms and everything to make sure that $10,200 is tax-free. All right. The reason I recommend that, you guys, is amendments are great for going back when you've discovered an error, right? Or you've discovered that there's something that needs to be fixed, more money to be received, whatever. Okay. That's what an amendment is for. An amended return is to fix something that was originally filed incorrectly. In this case, if you haven't filed yet, okay, then there's no reason to amend. Just hold off and file your return, file an extension, and file a return later. Because you guys, so amendments, like I said, they're a great tool created for a reason. But with them comes there comes headache, okay? They take longer for the IRS to process. They are more highly scrutinized than originally filed returns, all right? And your refund is going to take longer to get. I can just tell you those things. Okay. So one more time, if you have unemployment income for 2020, all right, I recommend you get your information in. If you self-prepare, enter it into TurboTax or H&R Block. If you have a tax preparer, get them the information, but let them know you want to file an extension because of your unemployment income. Your tax preparer should know this, you guys, but if they don't, give them some slack. Okay. This has been the craziest year. All right. So we're all still adjusting. We're all trying to figure out what to do with all this. Okay. But let your tax preparer know you want to file an extension until the IRS comes out with that guidance. All right. So PPP updates. All right. So the new bill does not have a third round of PPP in it. Okay. There's not going to be a third round of PPP, at least not with this new bill that's passing. However, let's go back to if you're a Schedule C filer, okay? So not a partnership, not an S Corp, not a C Corp, but a Schedule C, sole prop, single member LLC, independent contractor, self-employed, and you want to get your first PPP, the good news is you can get more money. than you could beforehand. Okay. Biden announced a few weeks ago that instead of using your net business income, which is, for all of you following me for the last year, line 31 of your Schedule C, you can now use line 7 of your Schedule C, which is your gross receipts, your gross income. Okay. This is not retroactive. As of right now, it's only for people who have not yet submitted a PPP application. Okay. First or second, doesn't matter. But if you're thinking about it, right? If you were thinking about applying for a PPP loan and you've been on the fence, well, look at your return now and see if maybe before you're like, oh, it's not really worth it. I'm only going to get X amount of dollars. But now that you can use line 7 instead of line 31, maybe it's worth a lot more money. So maybe now it's worth your time to file that PPP application. All right. Again, right now it's not retroactive. I'll let you know if any of that changes. Okay, but so remember again, guys, for PPP, whether you're thinking about filing for a first round or a second round loan, the deadline is March 31st. Okay, March 31st of this year, deadline to apply for your PPP loans. All right, there's not a lot of rush to get in. It's not like you don't have to stress out and try to get in this week. Okay, that we're not running out of money. My friend Jamie Trull pulled a report last week, and as of then, 156 billion of the 280 billion had been lent out. Okay, so there's still over $100 billion left. All right, and then the last piece I want to remind you guys about is remember that you have to have spent your first round of PPP before you get that second round. All right, you don't have to have gotten forgiveness or even applied for forgiveness. You just have to have spent the money. And the reason I want to bring that out there or put that out there is because we've heard of some banks offering to do first and second loan applications at the same time. And you can't do that. You can't get a second round of PPP until you've spent your first. So I don't really know what they're trying to do to work around that. All right. All right. No questions so far. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Excuse me. So deadlines. So I've gotten a lot of questions are they going to move the deadlines like they did last year? Right now, there hasn't been anything, right? The S Corps and the partnerships are still due March 15th, and trusts, C Corps, and individuals are still due April 15th, unless you're in Texas. Snowmageddon was considered a national disaster, and if you were affected by that, then you actually have until June 15th to file any of your tax returns. All right, your business or your personal. All right, so the last thing I want to share with you guys real quick is a bunch of resources I have in the comments. Excuse me. I have in the comments regarding ERTC and FFCRA. Okay. So ERTC, let me start with FFCRA because I think that's the first one I put in there. So that is your credit, right? Your credit for paid sick leave. All right. And that calculator I have for you guys is for my self-employed people because it is available to you if you're self-employed. All right. So back up, remember that this credit, if you have employees, right, and you had to pay them because they had COVID or had to quarantine or anything like that, you were in 2020, you were required to pay them for up to 2 weeks of time off because of COVID. And then you got a credit for the time you paid out. Okay. That mandatory pay is no longer applicable in 2021, but the credit is still available. All right. So if you have employees who are missing because they have to quarantine because they're sick, you can pay them for that sick time and then get reimbursed through a payroll credit. Okay. We've gotten questions for self-employed people, right? Because you're not on payroll. So for the self-employed people, it is available to you. All right. And my friend Jamie Trull, amazing CPA, created a spreadsheet to help you guys figure out how much you can qualify for and how to do that. All right. The link is above or below, depending on where you're watching it. Okay. This credit for you guys that are self-employed, it's up to $15,000. Okay. It's a tax credit of up to $15,000. So definitely worth looking into. All right. And the last piece I want to talk about real quick is the ERTC. That's the Employee Retention Tax Credit. All right. So this one, you guys, way more complicated and this one is for those of you that have employees. Okay. Even if it's just you as an S Corp, you have to have W-2 payroll waged employees to qualify for this credit. All right. And the 2020 rules to qualify are different than the 2021 rules. 2021, you can get more money per employee, however. But this spreadsheet that Jamie created helps you guys decipher, do you qualify for this credit? All right. I think one of those spreadsheets is $7, one is $17, but you guys, they can save you. The FFCRA calculator for my self-employed people can save you up to $15,000. This ERTC calculator, this can help you decide if you qualify for a credit that could be worth as much as $19,000 per employee. Okay, so it is a lot of money. So what this calculator or what this spreadsheet is going to do for you guys, it's going to help you decipher if you qualify. And at that point, you need to go to your professionals, all right? And what I mean there, if you don't have PPP, if you didn't get PPP and you just want to look into getting this ERTC, your payroll company should be able to navigate most of that for you. All right. However, if you got PPP as well, then you have to make sure you're not double dipping into funds, making sure you're recording everything correctly. So you're going to want to either talk to your CPA, or I have another CPA friend named Kristi. Her link is also in the comments. She is doing ERTC consultations. Okay. So she can actually help you walk through this after you do the spreadsheet. You're like, oh my gosh, I qualify. I want some money. I want this tax credit. But I did get the PPP. What do I need to do? Talk to Kristi and she can help you decipher what needs to be done. All right. Okay, so let's see. I don't see questions. Perfect. Guys, I will not be here next Monday. Okay. It's March 15th. It's a tax deadline for me. Won't be here. However, if this bill gets passed, if there's any changes, anything like that, I'll come in at a different day next week. I'll let you guys know depending on when things pass and what goes on, but definitely not Monday. All right. Definitely not Monday. But that said, if you guys have questions, definitely head on over, if you're not already in it, into our Money, Tax, and Finance for Small Business Facebook group. Over there, you can post your questions. And there's a group of like 800 and some odd people, and a lot of them are we have other accountants in there, we have payroll specialists, we have other bookkeepers, and a lot of them can help answer some of your questions faster than I sometimes do. So it's a great little community. So other than that, you guys, I don't see any more questions that I missed. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. All right, on the 22nd. All right, have a good one.